A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Sports Tonight. I'm Yemi Adebayo. There's a lot lined up for you tonight. We're going to be talking about the FIFA rankings, the Super Eagles. Of course, we're also going to be talking about a lot of other things happening as we speak. The Europa League is currently going on. A lot of matches being played across Europe. There's also the eagerly anticipated boxing bouts, the title fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. That will get us talking on the show tonight as well. Of course, we'll go to England, talk about the English Premier League, talk about Pep Guardiola. Will he stay? Will he move? We'll talk about him on the show as well. We'll also talk about some things happening as regards Nigeria's preparations for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. We're going to do all that for you on the show today. But of course, let's bring you into all that we're doing. We always like to tell you that you're an integral part of this show. You keep us going. And of course, with you, of course, it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. So keep your comments coming. In case you're just joining us for the first time, this is how you can be a part of this show. You can send us a mail, Sports Tonight, at channelstv.com. Let us know how you feel on all the issues that I've touched up on. You can get across to us on Facebook as well, Channels-Sports. That's how you can let us know how you feel about the Super Eagles ranking, about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, about what is happening in your amazing world of sports. What about the FFP rules breach by Manchester City? What do you feel about it? Does the punishment fit the crime? Let's talk about all of that on the show. You can also get across to us on Twitter at Channels_Sports. Let us know how you feel about all of the things happening in your amazing world of sports. And that's it. And we're set. We're ready to go. Let us know how you feel. You can get across to us through any of those means that you have right there on your screen. As usual, Thursdays like this, we travel to Washington to link up with our man, Sonny Yong, to get his take, to tell us what's happening in his own part of the world. Of course, when he's ready, we'll just get straight to it. There's a lot to talk about. Of course, there's the NBA All-Star Game. There's of course, there's also Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Of course, all of this is happening in his backyard. Some happened in his backyard. Some will happen. Okay, let's just go straight to Washington. Let's start the show that way tonight. Sonny, it's good to have you. Join us on the show tonight. It's been a while, Sonny.
Sporty greetings, Yemi. Always a pleasure to be on Sports Tonight, and it's always fun to talk to you, Yemi. I look forward to our chats.
All right, Sonny, let's just dive straight into it. Let's talk about the NBA All-Star Game. You saw it. It happened in your backyard. A lot of people said that's the most competitive All-Star Game that they've ever seen. I don't know if you agree with that.
I enjoyed the game, Yemi. Very high scoring. They don't usually play much defense in this annual NBA All-Star Game. This year, however, it had some somber tones on the sidelines, Yemi. There were tributes to Kobe Bryant, the Los Angeles Lakers star who was tragically killed in that helicopter crash last month near Los Angeles. But the players, they showed up in Chicago, and they put on a great show. Giannis Antetokounmpo captained one team, LeBron James captained the other, and ended up going right down to the wire and 2-point margin. So I think the fans were very entertained, and it kind of sets the stage for the closing portion of the NBA season, Yemi.
All right, Sonny, I'm curious. This present format and the previous one, in talking about the NBA All-Star Game, which one do you prefer? I just want to get your take on that. A lot of people have said, let's keep this format. The captains have said, we love this format. But what about you? Which one do you prefer?
Well, I am a little long in the tooth these days, Yemi. I've been following the NBA since I was a little boy, and I really tend to like when they just keep it Eastern Conference versus Western Conference, where there's a clear line between the players. The way they have it now, the two captains basically select their teams. They alternate. So it's kind of a jumble Eastern Conference, Western Conference players. And I kind of like the old format a little better, where you really got a good idea of which players were standing out in each conference. Now it's more of kind of a mishmash where all the best players kind of play together.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about when the NBA resumes. Of course, the break for the All-Star, and they're going to get back to it. Talk to us about what you expect when everything returns and we begin to see the guys in action week in, week out.
Well, they've had a few days off, the NBA, and now they resume later Thursday night here in the USA. That'll be early Friday morning in Nigeria. One of the teams in action when the league resumes will be Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. They really look strong this season, Yemi. A lot of depth on the Bucks, led, of course, by Giannis Antetokounmpo, the league's reigning NBA Most Valuable Player. They have the NBA's best record at 48 wins and only 8 losses. They play the Detroit Pistons road match. Giannis, just a great all-around player, but just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of player he is, he's second in the NBA in scoring right now, averaging 30 points a game, and he is the NBA's 5th leading rebounder, averaging 13.5 rebounds per game. Giannis also a very good passer. He can basically do it all for the Bucks. I think they have to be considered really strong favorites, maybe to win the NBA title and dethrone the Toronto Raptors. However, Yemi, right before the All-Star break, the Raptors had the league's longest winning streak. They lost right before the All-Star break. Raptors also excellent team this season. I thought they might drop off more than they have after losing Kawhi Leonard to the Los Angeles Clippers. But Pascal Siakam from Cameroon, he has really upped his game for the Raptors. So they could challenge the Bucks in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics looking good. And out west, Yemi, I really like the two LA teams, Lakers and the Clippers. I think they're probably the two best teams in the West right now.
All right, okay. So let's switch gears. Let's leave the NBA and talk about tennis. And, of course, let's talk about the Swiss maestro himself, Roger Federer. Of course, he has announced that he's not going to be taking part in the French Open and some other tournaments around that. Hopefully, he hopes to be back for Wimbledon. I don't know. Do you still see Roger Federer on the elite level? Do you still see him winning probably one more Grand Slam before he retires?
You know, that's an excellent question, Yemi. I really think Federer may be similar to Serena Williams in some respects. Their days are numbered. Federer trying to save his legs by skipping the French Open. He's done that in recent years. He has skipped the French Open to basically preserve his legs and body for Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. But I think some of the young players coming up now, Yemi, Dominic Thiem, Alexander Zverev from Germany, they're really going to make it difficult for Federer to win another Grand Slam. And Djokovic looks fantastic right now. He could possibly overtake Nadal and Federer when it comes to Grand Slam titles.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. We'll see what happens. But you found a way to dodge my question. Do you think Roger Federer can still win a Grand Slam before he calls time on his career?
I think he can.
Okay.
But it's gonna be difficult.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. If he does, I'll tell you again. Maybe you eat the humble pie. We'll see. Okay. Let's move on the show. Let's talk about Daytona 500. Ryan Newman getting injured. I mean, what's the update on the story?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that question, Yemi.
Yeah, I wanted to go from the courts to the racetracks and talk about Ryan Newman, the Daytona 500 driver.
Yes, that was actually one of the stories that made headlines this week here in the United States, Yemi. The Daytona 500, it's probably, along with the Indianapolis 500, it's probably, those are the two big auto races held every year here in the United States. This year, there was a terrible, just a horrific crash near the end of the race involving Ryan Newman, a veteran NASCAR driver. And a lot of people wondered about whether he would even survive that crash. He was rushed to a Florida hospital. But the good news is they had photos yesterday of Newman coming out of the hospital, holding the hands of his two daughters. And so he is going to make a full recovery and should get behind the wheel. But there was a lot of concern for Newman. It's a dangerous sport, much like boxing. But that was one of the feel-good stories, the fact that he came out of the hospital and going to make a good recovery. And I should point out regarding the prestige of the Daytona 500, Yemi, that the U.S. President Donald Trump was the official starter of the race down in Florida.
Okay, all right. So all the best to the guys. Maybe the organizers will find a way to put in some safety measures to ensure that accidents like this do not happen. It's becoming a bit frequent these days, associated with race car. I mean, use Bianchi the other time with Formula One. I mean, you could always count some of those things, near tragedies, sometimes even some of those guys losing their lives. But hopefully, this kind of stories won't grab the headlines anymore.
Yeah, in fact, Yemi, on that note, like I said, it's a dangerous sport. But I should credit NASCAR. That's the governing body for stock car racing here in the USA. They have made some safety improvements in recent years, especially regarding the sort of the carriage that surrounds the drivers in their cars. They've implemented some high-tech design that makes it safer for the drivers. However, when crashes like that occur, it will cause concern among auto racing fans.
Okay, all right. We saved the best for the last. Let's talk about boxing on the show. Let's talk about what's going to happen in Las Vegas. Let's talk about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Both boxers been talking. Both boxers say, look, I'm not going to leave it to the judges. I'm going to decide who wins this fight. It looks like we might not get to see 12 rounds because both boxers are determined to win this. There's been a lot of trash talk between both. But let me get your take. Who do you think is primed to win this bout?
Well, I don't know. I have to sort of try to figure out that trash talk. Tyson Fury, Yemi, has said that he plans to come forward and challenge Deontay Wilder on Saturday night in Las Vegas. I sort of wonder whether that's a smokescreen of sorts, that he might revert back to maybe dancing around the ring. He does have good movement and maybe try to win a 12-round decision. So I'm not quite sold that he's going to come forward and challenge Deontay Wilder on Saturday night. I will say that pre-fight news conference, Yemi, was quite entertaining. Mm-hmm. Because they held only one news conference before the Vegas news conference in Los Angeles, and I thought they both seemed rather subdued in their remarks. But as we saw in that news conference with the two fighters shoving each other and engaging in trash talk, including some rather below the belt remarks, I think, I'll be surprised if it goes 12 rounds on Saturday night. I do like Deontay Wilder to retain his WBC belts. I'm going to go with Wilder to win by knockout, Yemi.
All right, since you talk about Wilder and his powerful left hook, some people feel Deontay Wilder is going to get desperate, and that might open the door for Tyson Fury. Of course, you've talked about Tyson Fury. Most of us believe Tyson Fury can outbox Deontay Wilder. What's going to make Deontay Wilder win is that knockout, that popular eraser. So do you think if he doesn't knock him out, he might just get desperate?
That's a good point, Yemi. Deontay Wilder does not always look very stylish when he's out there, but when he lands his punches, he usually puts them down. I mean, he did knock down Fury in their first fight. I believe Wilder learned a few things about Tyson Fury in that first fight, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to go with him in the rematch. Also, I don't think Fury was all that impressive in that last fight against the Swede, Otto Wallen. I don't know whether that's going to be a factor. I know he suffered some bad cuts in that fight, Yemi, 47 stitches. And I think that Wilder is going to target that area above Fury's eye, and so it could be an ugly, bloody bout in Vegas.
All right. Before that press conference, Tyson Fury confirmed that it's going to actually lead up to a trilogy, that we're going to see a third installment of this fight, no matter what happens in part 2. But of course, there's Anthony Joshua on the wings saying whoever wins this bout should fight him, and there's money on offer. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to see part 3 before Joshua gets into the picture, or whoever wins this is likely going to want to fight Joshua before part 3?
Well, that's a great question, Yemi. I believe if we have any kind of fight like the first one, which was, a split decision draw, we're going to see a third fight between Wilder and Fury. However, if Wilder wins by an early knockout, or even if Fury wins by an early knockout, I wonder whether fight fans would want that trilogy. I know AJ has at least one mandatory defense, but I really hope that AJ will fight the winner of Saturday night very soon.
All right. Before we let you go, Deontay Wilder says something. I don't know if you agree. He says he wants the championship to have one face, one name. Do you think we're going to see that this year or anytime soon? All the belts with one person.
I wonder. That's another great question, Yemi. I think it's more likely that we'll have a unified heavyweight champion in 2021. I don't see it coming this year. I think AJ is going to fight at least one mandatory defense against someone other than Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And I think they're going to try to string it out to build up interest among fight fans. And so I have my doubts that it's going to take place this year, Yemi.
All right, Sonny Yong, want to thank you for your time on the show today. Always a pleasure having you join us, and of course, telling us what's happening in the amazing world of sports from your hand. We appreciate your input.
Thank you, Yemi. It's always a pleasure to be on Sports Tonight and the award-winning Channels Television.
All right. That's our friend Sonny Yong from The Voice of America right here in Washington, telling us what's happening in the amazing world of sports. Before we go on a break, let me quickly introduce my partner on the show tonight. He's been sitting in and listening to that conversation. I'm very sure he has a lot to tell us as well. Bolu Amoni joins me on the show tonight. Bolu, it's good to have you join us tonight.
Yeah, good to be here again. Yeah.
All right. Before we go on a break, I don't know if you can do it quickly. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, your thoughts about what we're going to see on Saturday?
Well, it's more like a fight between a brawler and a real fighter. Now, both of them, like Sonny rightly said, they've learned from the first fight. Now, Wilder would have to come in with, like he's been ranting, he just needs a lucky punch, a few seconds to get down to Wilder. But for Fury, he just needs to keep moving around. You need to
keep the distance.
Keep moving. He has good fists, he has good punches. He can run down the time, and he is also saying he needs the knockout to be a very, very interesting fight. I'm sure it will be more interesting than the first fight, but I'm not sure we can get an early knockout, but definitely a knockout may come out of this game.
All right. So, Bolu says a knockout may just come, and I tend to agree with him. We're going to see a winner. It's not going to be left to the judges. We're going to see a winner this time. So, fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, this is so much for you on Sports Tonight. Join us again. All right, welcome back. Of course, let's talk about what's happening here in Nigeria. Let's start with the National Sports Festival, Edo 2020. Of course, let's just tell you that is 29 days to go. We've started a countdown to Nigeria's mini Olympics. Let's just give you that official confirmation. 29 days to go to see what's going to happen. Of course, the host have promised to put up a show, of course, to better what was done last time out in Abuja. We're waiting to see. Of course, the sports ministry has said, look, these guys, they've gone beyond 90%. They're almost ready. So we'll see what happens. That's the confirmation for you. 29 days to go. Nigeria's mini Olympics. Ideally, Nigeria's biggest sporting event. Doesn't have the glamour, doesn't have the glitz, but ideally it's supposed to be Nigeria's biggest sporting event. But your take, with regards to the host, because that's what we can talk about for now, it appears like, I mean, they're doing all the right things.
Well, first off, I think what happened last year gave everybody the mind that this competition is back.
Yes.
It means everybody have to prepare well. It took time for Edo State. It took big bidding or fight for them to get this. It means they have to do very well. Like the sport ministry said, they are 90% ready. And they are doing something ahead of the tournament. They are planning their own, more like a pre-sports festival to get all their athletes ready for this event. It means they know, being the host, even if we can't win all the medals, we need to give our best, fight hard. And one of the reasons why the Super Eagles are not even playing there is basically because of this sports festival. It means they are fully ready. They know what it means to host this event, but you are never ready until the competition proper starts. Let's see how the pre-tournament in Edo State will go around. If there are any maybe flaws or lapses, it means they can use that to correct themselves ahead of the main event. I think we would have a definitely beautiful sporting festival in Edo State.
A lot of people said the Edo State Sports Festival that you hinted about was a good dress rehearsal. But some people will also argue that, look, when people come for the National Sports Festival, it's probably going to be times 20, times 50 or whatever the population and the people that's going to come. But as far as their own state sports festival, I mean, everything went according to plan and it was good. But can we judge? Can we have expectations based on how successful the state sports festival was?
Well, it's more like, let me bring a bit of football, like a Confederations Cup, seeing what will happen ahead of the World Cup. Definitely, this one is Edo State alone, but that will be 37 states, including Abuja. And now, if there are maybe one or two errors, they have to use this to correct. Even their successes for this one, they can never rely on it because this is a larger number of athletes. Definitely, in terms of hotel accommodation, it is much more. In terms of participation,
logistics,
everything will be much more. But it will give them an idea of how to plan ahead of time. If we plan for maybe 30,000 athletes for this Edo, it means you have to think of maybe times 10, times 20 for the main event. What they just need to, this will be like a blueprint for them. It is definitely not the same, but it's a blueprint on how can we work on it, how can we work on ourselves, and most importantly, their own athletes. Definitely, they have to pick winners from there. They have to pick champions of each category and push them forward. I'm not expecting you to go for maybe the last on your race to represent the states in the middle. So I think for them, it's good enough for Edo State and for preparation ahead of the sports festival.
All right, so let's talk about the big one now, Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Of course, on this show, we started a countdown as well. So let's just let you know there's 154 days to go to the biggest sporting event on the planet, the multi-sport event. 154 days to go. And what we do usually is to look at this countdown and try to mirror Team Nigeria's preparation. So, Bolo, I'm going to ask you, are you feeling the buzz? Are you excited? I mean, what's new? What are the updates around some of the federations and teams, individuals we hope to see at the Olympics?
Well, we can say it's more like mixed feelings. One thing I've been telling friends everywhere is, although some of them laugh at me, is maybe it's good news that we are not having football at the Olympics. Maybe. If football gets there, we take probably like 23 players, they get one medal, gold, silver, or bronze. Same for male and female. But if we take 10 athletes for maybe 100 meters or whatever, they can bring in 10 medals.
They can even bring more than that because an athlete can be in 4 events.
And different events, but all our attention and focus is always on football. Now they are not going, we can focus on other things. And one interesting thing is I love the adopt an athlete thing the sport ministry is doing. Now, some or most of the athletes can go into this competition not thinking about money. Before now, when you're at the Olympics, you're always thinking of, will I get paid? Sometimes the players will rally around that, pay us or we won't compete. Now the likes of Adekuoroye, now the world #1 in a category. She's just got $10,000. Now she's not even thinking about money. All she needs to do is give your best, prepare well for this tournament. Yeah, they said the best time to prepare for an Olympic Games is 4 years ago. But at the same time, it's still never too late to prepare. Now she's giving her best, winning medals ahead of the Olympic Games. It means everybody knows this young lady is coming in with a big fight ahead. But the sad part is, for example, the Boxing Federation now, the competition qualifiers, African qualifiers started already today, and they are not there. There are lots of shenanigans around it, money being spent for the wrong things. But aside that, there's still another chance. They'll play the all-comers event. If they'll be going for that one, at least 4 boxers can still qualify through that one.
Yeah, the issue about the boxers leaves a sore taste in our mouth. But look at this picture you have right there on screen. As high as the sports minister getting involved in this Adopt an Athlete program. I love everything about this. Even though you could say we should have done this earlier, but better late than never. I'm very happy. And it seems that we are all on the same page in believing that the biggest prospect we have in terms of an athlete that could get us a medal is Adekuoroye. And I guess that's why she's the first among the athletes to be adopted.
Well, first of all, when this initiative came, I'm sure many persons were like, will it work? Some persons will probably sit down. And the sport minister had to push hard himself, going to maybe investors. And now we are seeing the fruits. Although, like Riley said, if there's one name that will come to mind of getting a medal, gold, silver, or bronze at the Olympics, Odoya is definitely one of the names on your list. She's the world number 1 in her category. Same for Blessing Oborodudu. She's second in her category. I think Wrestling Federation, they found a way to separate themselves from lots of controversies. Definitely, they also had issues with money, but they are not bringing it to the fore. They are not bringing it to the media. They've always found a way around it. Now, there is money. Nobody's thinking of, well, if you fight hard to get to the Olympics, how would athletes get paid? Even if there's no money from the Olympics, there's an initiative on the side that these ladies will get money from, the guys will get money from. So they are fully ready. I think the boxing, the Wrestling Federation will bring in medals. I'm not sure whether it will be gold or anything, but I think we would have medals, not 1, not 2, from the wrestlers.
And Bolu, just to add to what you've said, and I quite agree with everything you've said, just to add, the last time, I think when this program, the initial attempt to bring everybody together, one of the things Odoya said that struck me was that during the last Olympics, she wasn't on form. And, because there are too much distractions, and you, like you said, now she's going to go into the Olympics not thinking about, I must be in Turkey to get this little change. I must be there. She's not thinking about that. She's thinking about how she could represent Nigeria. Now she's number 1 in her category. I think that takes the burden away from these athletes, and they can focus on what is their job to really do, which is to fight for others. And I also like the fact that the payment goes directly to the athlete. So there's no way you can short-circuit it
no
or
second party, no third party. I
like
think
it
it's
that
a
way.
good one. Yeah, me too. Like you said, it's going directly to them. Now, you are not thinking of, will someone take out of my money? Will someone get a cut?
Will I have to go and kneel down somewhere to get my money?
I'm getting $10,000 and it's coming directly to me. Now, if I was in her shoes, the only thing I would be thinking of is how not to disappoint both the investors and even the sport ministry and the federation that believe so much in me. And likewise, going forward for the runners as well, the athletes, looked at the likes of Brume. School is not a distraction anymore. Same for Divine Dudu. School is not. I think we are going into this Olympics. One thing is certain: it will not be a flop like we had in the last time. The last Olympics was an embarrassment for Nigeria, but I think this time around we are going in with lots of fun. For Brume, I saw the way she was celebrated in her school when she got back from the African Games. Now she's not in school anymore. She's focusing on the Olympics. Everything centered around most of our athletes, minus football that are not going, is making Nigeria proud ahead of these Olympics.
Aside the boxers, though.
Yeah, well, aside the boxers, I saw a list of the boxers that were meant to go, 13 of them. Now, more like their hope is dashed out. One of them, Bolanle, she even got a personal sponsor, but she still could not go. Why? Because there has to be a member from the federation that will do all her signings for her. Now, the only hope they have is the all-comers event, and that definitely is harder because it's not all-comers for Africa. It's all-comers for everybody all around the world. That's a very, very difficult route, and it's only for athletes from each country that can go. At least now they can go. She has a sponsor. Maybe they could give 1 or 2 conditions or 1 or 2. Remember the last Olympic Games as well. Ifeanyi Jagba had to sponsor himself to go to these events. I think this is another area we have to look into. From what we've seen in the sport minister so far, I think he's interested in boxing. I don't know how come this is the same federation that having issues with money. I think it's sad for boxing. And the one sad thing from, I think the president was only one person that can get you medals. You never can tell. You don't prepare to fail ahead of a competition. I think they have to learn from this, and let's see and hope. I think the all-comers should be in Paris. Let's see if they will be able to go for that one. But for the wrestlers, I have hope. For the athletes, I have hope.
All right, so let's see what's going to happen. It's not going to be a jamboree. Hopefully, it won't be a jamboree. A lot of optimism coming from Bolu. His optimism is very infectious. I'm already feeling it. All right, so let's move on the show. Let's do a little bit of basketball, Bolu. Let's talk about Rivers Hoopers. A lot of us are excited because of the Basketball Africa League. He has a stamp of the NBA on it. And of course, when the stamp of the NBA is on something, you sure it's going to be top level. Of course, we now know where they have been drawn, the teams that are going to face. Just mentioning the names will send chills down your spine. But, I mean, if you want to be the champion, you have to beat whoever is in front of you. So, Nigeria's representative, that's talking about Rivers Hoopers, they've been drawn in the NOW conference of the inaugural edition of the Basketball Africa League. Bolu, guess what? They're going to be up against Zamalek. Wow. They're going to be up against US Monastir of Tunisia, of course, Mozambique's Ferroviario, Maputo, and Armed Forces and Police of Cameroon, and Patriots of Rwanda. These are well-organized basketball teams. But for me, the fact that we have Rivers Hoopers mixing it with these guys is victory enough for me.
One thing is, I think the initiative started in 2018 from NBA, and these are people that know what they are doing. They know what they want. Sometimes the initiative will come and it's probably pushed to the bin.
Yep.
But this time around, they thought of it. They liaised with the FIBA. Now this competition is kicking off.
It's here to stay.
It's here to stay, and it does not look like anything going to flop. Like you rightly said, it's good we are mixing and matching with this guy. But Zamalek, first off, they are over 100 years old.
Wow.
And on paper,
they are an ideal sports club.
They
have
sports,
everything.
Football, basketball,
Everything,
tennis,
sports
everything.
Club.
And looking at all the teams we have here, I think on paper, the only team we can beat on paper is the Armed Forces. And the interesting thing is they were not even the champion of their country. They are here because the champions refused the invitation. I don't know how you can refuse such an invitation. It's strange.
Something you want to merit.
Something you want to merit. I'm checking through Zamalek are 14-time national champions, Maputo 8 times. For the other teams there, 4-4.
Stop. It's scary enough.
Although Rivers Hoopers have 3 too. They are 3-time champions. And, well, basketball sometimes is what happens on the day. We've seen the top teams look at Golden State Warriors and they're not doing so well. So it is what happens on the day, how well... basketball is not a one-man team.
Yeah.
It's not a one-man game. You have to play well as a team. If Rivers Hoopers, they know what is at stake, or let me say they should know what is at stake. They should know who they are coming against. They have to give their best. And sometimes in every tournament, your first game really matters. This time around, the way this competition is, everybody, they are all playing each other. You are playing 5 games each in every conference. The top 2 teams will qualify. So they don't even have to be the best. Just make sure you are part of the top 3 teams. We would love to see them get to the final stages of this competition. But whatever happens, the fact that they are here, it's good news enough for Nigeria. It's a wake-up call for every other team in Nigeria, knowing we are not just playing any competition to go pay maybe any FIBA Zone 3. Now, you know, if you win your national league in Nigeria, you can represent Nigeria
in a lucrative
competition
that the world is watching.
And the interesting thing is Obama is also part of this competition. The former president of the US is also part of the initiative. It means it is bigger than Nigeria. It is bigger than Africa. It is NBA.
And guess what? It's not going to remain the way it is.
No.
You're looking at those names that you're mentioning. Those kind of people are not going to be involved in something that's going to fizzle out. So you're sure that, look, next year's edition is probably going to be bigger than this. A lot of new innovations. We'll see what happens. All the best to Rivers Hoopers. Hopefully, they give us a credible representation in the Basketball Africa League. And hopefully, they will not be carried away with how big the occasion is. All right, let's leave basketball, come to the football field, and talk about Heartland. Of course, Heartland FC. The story, not good for their fans. Just when they thought, things will start turning around, Heartland FC have been banned from signing new players for the next 2 transfer windows until they comply with the ruling by the league management company, that's the LMC, in separate complaints of unlawful termination of contract and indebtedness filed by 2 former players of the club. We're talking of Okereke Mabuaduchi and Shegun Fatuashe. And I don't know why those clubs, this will always come back to haunt you. Well, sort out your books, sort out your players, They are the key actors. The chairman is not important. It's not in any way more important than the players. In fact, if the players are not there, he can't even be the chairman.
Well, the thing is, Heartland are on the wrong end of the sword because it is more like the story of every team in the NPFL.
To be fair.
Every transfer, you hear 15 players are released, 20 players are signed. The next
So
season,
we've heard about a whole of a team disbanded.
Because of poor result. And I said to myself, do these players have contracts? Because if they are contracts, there's no way in this lifetime you let them go like that. It means they have to fight. We've heard players complain to the LMC every time. We've heard players locking up the training ground, not allowing the new players to train. Why? Because they are being old. Well, I like the fact that they are stepping up this time. I hope stepping up against Heartland will be stepping up against every other team, because many players now believing if you can do this, we too have to raise our voices. Maybe you do. Not that you say, okay, Heartland, yeah, another team will do the same thing and you probably give them a slap on the wrist. I love that they are taking the stand, but the stand has to be across. But not that you now come back that, okay, due to good conduct in quotes, then you release them maybe one transfer.
I hope I'm not going to get to read that kind of phrase anymore, because it saddens you when you good conduct.
You punish maybe someone for a year, after 1 month
you just reduce it.
Sometimes
for the past
you
4
need
months,
to close your eyes and make those drastic decisions for some things to work. I read a quote attributed to the sport minister that he wants to find a way help rebrand the league, that government's involvement is too much. The problem for me is not just about government's involvement. It is LMC following the rules down to the wire, because if private sectors come in and the rules are still the same, for example, securities at stadiums are not enough, we are still going back to what we were talking about. But if government is in charge and you step on toes, or if private sectors are coming in and you make sure all these rules are adhered to, well, the league should be a beautiful play. But let's see if the LMC will continue with this.
But let me play the devil's advocate and tell you this, and let me see how you're going to respond. Some of those club chairmen, some of those clubs will say, these players should be thanking us for what we do for them, because what do we even get in return? You're telling me to pay somebody 8.1 million, you're telling me to pay somebody 5 million. As a club, what have we earned? And I think in a way that paralyzes the LMC somewhat, and they're very careful when when they're supposed to use the hammer. They're always very careful, because in actual fact, what does these clubs, what do they get from playing in the league?
Well, first off, a club will play a league match and throw the gates open. How do you earn money? I did an interview with one of the legendary musicians, Sans Sultan, talking about on things to do on how to make the league better. And one of the things they asked, that he has never seen anywhere in Nigeria that a player in NPFL, maybe there's a brand, maybe there's a billboard and a player is there. Sometimes fans don't go to the stadiums to watch a team. They go there to watch a player. Remember the issue in South Korea with Cristiano Ronaldo, that the fans had to get their money back. They just wanted to see Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So he was asking me that he has never gone anywhere. Maybe you see the brand of a team, maybe selling jerseys. How many clubs in NPFL have brand ambassador? How many of them have brand name sponsors on their jerseys? So sometimes you need to sell your market. The only thing a sponsor will ask you is, what do I tend to gain? That's the only thing they need. Sometimes our teams on the continent don't even have sponsors. So how do you expect every other team? So it is what you sell out that fans will receive. If the game is beautiful, if the fans are interesting to come to the stadium, all through the season, when Plateau United were playing good brand of football, they average about 4,000 to 5,000 fans every match. It means they love what they see. Then imagine a brand is there.
Even on days when it was freezing cold,
they were still there to watch the game. It's because they loved what they see. So I think the league can get better. We are not there yet. We can get better. And for government involved, for now, I think they're the only ones that have the money to sponsor now. But the investors need to see what they'll put their money before they do.
Yeah, governments, the only ones who can be in it, especially when you're not getting anything back. You know, that's the story of the Nigerian Professional Football League. Of course, there have been a lot of positives this season. That must be said. But the areas where a lot needs to be done are some of the ones we've just talked about. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return, of course, we'll talk about the FIFA ranking. I'll talk about what's happening in the English Premier League and also spare a thought for the Europa League.